Yo, welcome back, friends, family,
Hey,
countrymen.
before we get into that thing, I'm gonna set up the outro ahead of time before we start the show, so that
Okay.
it's like sitting there, and I'll be right back to that. Just give me a second here. Well, why am I hearing myself? There we go.
Because the soundboard is not muted. That's weird. That's never happened before. Let me add it now and see if is this going to be a problem. No, good.
Only that. That's not it. Okay, get that out of here. Where did I put that thing?
Happy April to all of our listeners.
Easter, man. Easter.
Just finished Easter. Coming up on Mother's Day. Get something for your mothers.
Yeah, man.
It's been a just nonstop. It's basically my life has felt like it's been nonstop since about the first week of March. And I have so tomorrow I've got a rehearsal for a show. Thursday I've got a show in the evening. Friday I'm assisting in the glass studio for 6 hours and then doing a demo that evening. Saturday is like an all-day rehearsal show, loadout, all in one go. Sunday I'm working and then Saturday night I'm doing a demo. Sunday morning I'm working in the hot shop and then getting together with friends for our next whiskey mash. And then Monday we have our staff end of year party, end of season party. And then Tuesday I load in my display to the library out here. And then it's finally like life returns to the more normal pace that I'm much more akin to. I'm very, very tired.
Oh man, I hear you. I'm just getting back on track with my schedule for sleep and stuff like that because we spent 3 nights in Asuncion for the Tridium masses, and there was a lot of late nights and crappy sleeps. Here, let's get that in here.
My coworker sings for
to do
the Archbishop's choir or something like that. It's like the selected top singers in the area. And she did something, I think she did 8 or 12 masses from Thursday to Sunday.
She did what?
8 to 12 masses, somewhere in that range.
Ooh, that makes sense.
And, this, not short ones, like
no.
The
vigil. Okay, so Holy Thursday is at minimum an hour and a half, minimum.
Yeah.
And then Good Friday is 2 hours, but it's
well then,
and then it's 2 hours, but then also there's a lot of times where you couple it with doing the Stations of the Cross or a procession, and then the Easter Vigil Mass, that's the late night mass, and the old school way of doing it's 4 to 4.5 hours, but the new ish reformed version of it is 3 hours, and then the even more modern one is less than that, but yeah. We did that, and then 3 hours.
Yeah, she was saying they had I don't remember what the numbers were, but a bunch of first communions, bunch of baptisms.
Yeah, that's the vigil mass. That's the vigil mass.
And so it was. I mean, she was there at the Basilica all weekend.
Good on her. That's awesome, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. She's I don't remember what the choir is, but it's they're handpicked. They're handpicked singers that sing the good stuff. So
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. No, unless she's a cantor, maybe she's a cantor and does the because if she's Novus Ordo, then she's allowed to do the responsorial psalm and the Alleluias. But yeah, I don't know enough details. I mean, if it's at the Basilica, it's probably Novus Ordo. So she's probably singing along with certain things, but yeah, her pipes are probably more than warm at this point in time.
Yeah.
And then we end up right after Easter having to mourn we've got a sede vacante. The seat of Peter is vacant now. So I'm sure we'll get into that on the show. No comments yet. Where are my people at?
They're all shocked that we're still on account of having not done this for 3 weeks.
Yeah, they thought we wrapped up. Maybe we pod faded. Is that what the word is?
Yeah, they thought we pod faded, but you know what? We are not Tony from Hack the Movies, so we don't just pod fade.
No,
we regularly say that the show is coming to an end, and then do not follow through with that promise.
Yeah, mine too. I wanted to get the Redskins one. There's like a Redskins one. Have you ever seen that like meme where there's like clearly like an Aboriginal, like First Nations guy, an Indian guy who's wearing like the red Chiefs jersey, but it's like instead of a Chiefs logo or no, it was Redskins, not Chiefs, Redskins. And the face is like some white guy. And then it says Caucasians. And then he's like, he posts this like selfie of himself. He's like, calm down. It's just a joke or something like that. And like all the like white people are like, no, we love it. Like, where do I get one of those? Like where I would cheer for that team like all the time. What are you talking about? And nobody's getting offended by that. Anyway, what's up, Brian? Good to see you.
Cool.
Shall we?
Let's jump into the episode.
Is that the correct number? Are we at 376?
So.
All right,
375 was the last one that I have in my phone. So
yeah. Thanks for the patience, everybody.
Now I have to double check because I am suspicious.
Now hang on. Didn't we have a thing where I had done an intro for the show and we couldn't use it because if we loaded it into the thing, it wouldn't show up on the soundboard. But then we realized that there's another way to get that on there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. Why don't I get that? Why don't I get that ready? Because then what we'll do is I'll start getting these things ready ahead of time, like better than this. we'll get going.
Is this in addition to the one you already have queued up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think here. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, I'm gonna see which one is which here. I think this is the right one. No, that's not the right one. You didn't like that one. Remove from studio. Get out of here.
I don't remember one that had a car doing donuts. I only remember the one with the little airplane flying around.
Yeah, I had the donut one. I had the car doing donuts one first, and then I hit you with the airplane one after. I'll do another one now that like we got Sora and all these AI type things now. I mean, it gives us a lot to work with. That's the one. Okay. All right. When are you ready? Are you ready when I'm ready?
I will hear this week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by the nonstop onslaught of life. The nonstop onslaught of life. Get yours wherever your life is sold. Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get, from north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host, Tab Burt, coming to you live from the most dangerous city in America, St. Louis, Missouri, and joining me from way down south, he's your favorite uncle. That's right, it's El Chaco.
Hola, mi enchilada. Good to see you, man. It's been a while. We stay in contact like the whole time.
Well, we hung out one Tuesday instead of doing a show, or maybe it was like a Wednesday. It was like some weird day of the week.
It was just different timing,
but we didn't want to like hit, and there wasn't a huge amount of time, so we didn't want to hit record. But yeah, I'm sure people can tell by the timbre of my voice that I am exhausted.
I think we're all coming out of it. We're coming out of it right now. Yeah.
So, shortly after our last episode recorded, I flew back to Oklahoma. Spent a week in my college town again, which was a really wild time. I went back there to I was functioning. I was the advisor to the sound designer. Was the like official role that I was filling while I was out there. but it was a job that my mentor once had, and so I was, filling in for him when for this show, which was really cool. And it was it's also funny because I was thinking about this after I had kind of like come through this whole process of getting through it. And the last time I was there was 3 years ago. They hired me to mix a musical that they were doing because they didn't have any students who were capable of engineering a show, because the sound department had been taken away from my mentor and given to a faculty member, and he had then proceeded to run it into the ground. So in the intervening years, they've gotten a couple more students into doing it, and but I guess the last show that they did last semester, yeah, in the fall, whatever show they did in the fall, this faculty member sound designed it, and the student that I was advising mixed it, and there were all kinds of problems. And when I first started meeting with this student and talking about the problems, the student's telling me like, oh, we were having this and that, and then telling me what this faculty member was using to try and fix them. And I was like, does he not fundamentally understand like how our technology works? And apparently not. But so 3 years ago when I was asked to do it, I agreed to do it mostly out of spite. Like I wanted to spitefully go back there and be like, yes, I'm the best. I'm the greatest sound engineer this school has ever had the fortune of like seeing. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Getting to like go back, because there was animosity between the school and I, because of like who I was as a person at the time. And there was
you were a blue-haired freak at the wait, sorry.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
They didn't so much approve of my choice to not go like chasing design work anymore, and instead go get like a job as a houseman. And there was probably some wisdom in that, but there was also some wisdom in having a steady paycheck right out of college. So but what ended up happening was, so while I was mixing that show, I realized how miserable I was in my job at the time, which was well covered in the old episodes of this podcast. But I was so miserable running the stagehands in Tulsa, because I wasn't actually doing anything. I was like facilitating work, but I wasn't actually doing any work. And so like sitting behind the console again and like actually making a show happen was it was eye-opening as to far as like what do I want to be doing. And I realized that it wasn't that. And about a month later, I turned in my notice with the union, and about like 3 months after that, maybe, I was living in St. Louis. And like, so in a way that job kind of changed my life. But going back this time, I wasn't going back out of spite. I was going back to try and like honor someone's memory, but also I was going back to try and protect a student from having to like go through the struggle that I went through when I was there, as far as like kind of being sabotaged by circumstances and then getting a red note against you. And so the Sunday night that I was there, we had our first full rehearsal with the band, and we had our then we had in the early morning, early afternoon, and then in the evening we had a rehearsal, no band again, but actors all in mics. And the musical director, who when I was there in the beginning, did not like me, did not appreciate, didn't think I did a good job. And but my mentor had like gave me a challenge on a show. He's like, this is basically your goal for the show, is to get this guy to shake your hand at the end. And the result, and I accomplished that. And the result was that guy became one of my most ardent supporters at OU. And so Sunday night, we're sitting there. The student and I are sitting in the house. We've had the whole full team production meeting, and I'm just giving the student the notes that I've taken from the evening's rehearsal. Just my thoughts on how to make it better. And he comes up to us and he says, I've got good news and bad news. And the student like freezes, just gets instantly extremely tense. And the musical director says, and so I said, we'll go ahead and take the bad news first. That way we can at least end with something of a win. And he said, well, the bad news is we're never going to let you graduate. And the student has this like stunned and shocked expression. And then he follows up by saying, because today went so well, we're never going to be able to allow you to leave here because we need this kind of work all the time. Yeah. And I turned to the student and I said, he used to tease me about this when I was here. So this is actually a really, really huge compliment. And you should know that this means you did a great job. And so I walked out of that theater that night. I felt like $1 million. I felt like I could go home at that right then and not worry about whether or not the show was in a good place. And then, coming back here. So I stayed all the way through opening. The director of the show is retiring at the end of this year. The director was also someone that I had won over through my work, and speaking with her, she said, how great it was to have me back, and best of luck in going forward, and that she always enjoyed working with me on shows, and I said the same. And they've created a $500,000 endowed scholarship in her name for musical theater, which is really, really cool. And so then I got back to St. Louis about a week later and proceeded to that exact same show. I designed it, but under my mentor's name, so that he'd have one final great show under his belt. And so I almost immediately went into rehearsals for that, and then mixing that. I was doing that all last weekend, 5 shows in 4 days, and it also went really, really well. And I really felt like I had, I had been able to pay respect to what he had done for me by giving that to someone else. And I had been able to pay respect for like the work that he taught me to do by doing it again.
That's very fulfilling. Like,
it was a super fulfilling week. So it's been, it's been like a whirlwind. It's just been a lot of stuff and back-to-back shows. And on top of that, I had shows for my full-time job. I've taken a job out about an hour outside of town, assisting a longtime professional glassblower once a week. So that was what I did today. And it's just yesterday we finished load out of the production and started load in on this other production that's happening this week. And we're trying to get other work stuff done. And so I left work at 6:30, and my phone, the activity tracker, my Ring on my phone is like, you've exceeded your activity goal by 530%. You walked the equivalent of 23 miles. And I was wow, I have to go home and do laundry and stuff now. And so then I think by the time I went to bed, it was 25 miles and 5,000 calories burnt for the day. Incredible. And so then, today I want to, it's you've been doing a lot lately, so you need to take a rest day. And then I got to the glass studio, and I look at my phone after our first piece, it's probably 9:30, 9:45, and it's boom, you've hit your activity goal for the day. And I'm like, well, that's great. We have another 5.5 hours of working to do. So
you're moving. You're moving.
I am wiped out. I'm really looking forward. I think tomorrow is going to be a lot less moving of stuff. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm trying to think of, because how many weeks has it been since our last show together?
About 3. I think 3 or 4. Yeah.
Lots happened. I'm going to wrap one of the things into my issue, so I won't touch on that. Just finished Lent, which is good. Mm-hmm. As you know, I successfully quit smoking prior to Lent, not having any more ever since. My legal case, the neighbors, as we suspected, were just buying time. They filed an appeal but didn't submit an argument. So now that case is being moved back to the court that issued my original ruling. And so we're just waiting on that. And once that comes in, I've got a couple grand more in expenses to pay out to get them off. I got to bring in the blue helmet police officers who can remove with force because they're just not going to leave peacefully. Tractors to bulldoze the houses, moving company to take all their stuff and move it to a safe location. Child services to make sure that the minors are dealt with properly. This whole thing sucks. It sucks. Yeah. But we're in the home stretch here. As you know, if you're listening to this in the future, this is the week that Pope Francis died. So we've got a conclave coming up. And so if you guys are the praying type, could you throw a couple of prayers to the Holy Mother Catholic Church's way so that we can get a good pope this time? I'd love to have like a papacy that I don't have to complain about, or I don't have to
What's the fun in that?
Explain away. Yeah. But my father-in-law's in town, so hopefully he's actually staying on the other side of this wall here. Not right now. He's probably hanging out with my wife right now, but not like I do a lot of yelling late in the show. Usually by the end of the show, I don't have a lot left in the tank, so I won't be waking him up or anything like that. But WrestleMania just happened, which just I just want to make a quick point about. They could have put it on any weekend in April. They did it on Easter. They did it literally on Easter weekend. Just seems to coincide with the people running TKO, which is the company that is owning WWE. The first night was great. Second night had good matches, but it ended terribly. The John Cena Cody Rhodes story sucked. Well, no, the story's great. The promos are great. The match itself sucked. Terribly booked. Do you know who Travis Scott is? The rapper?
Yeah, he's a rapper.
Yeah, but apparently he's a wrestler now because they just kind of injected him into the main event. And so now John Cena got the record for most world championships, in history, I guess in kayfabe, but 17. He beat Ric Flair with the help of Travis Scott, wrestling legend. And you know what's going to be sad about this? Guaranteed someday Travis Scott's going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame just because of this WrestleMania, just because of that moment and all that kind of stuff. So he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Not fun. So, I'm in a mixed state right now, right? Because I should be happy. It's Easter, but there's some crap going on with the papacy and bad WrestleMania and the thing I want to bring up. So should I jump into my issue?
Your issue? Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I don't get. Guilt-splaining. Okay, so what do I mean by guilt-splaining? When somebody is clearly guilty, This goes with my
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah. When somebody knows, it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that person is guilty. Mm-hmm. Not O.J. Simpson. Not O.J. Simpson. Because guilt-splaining would be had he been found guilty, properly, but somehow got a lighter sentence because socioeconomic factors, or it was a crime of passion, or some sort of explanation as to why this clearly guilty person doesn't deserve the punishment that they actually do. So, for example, I sent you the video of the horrendous incident that happened a few weeks back. It would have been the Saturday after our last show, and in our company, I don't own it. I just participated in it. The wrestling company, our reigning champion, our second most veteran guy, our assistant head teacher, our legacy, our top Paraguayan, our blah, 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 credentials. I'm going to back up for just a second. So have I explained kayfabe before on this? Yeah. Okay. So kayfabe is the idea that, in the fake story world, and then we call it a shoot when it's the real, that's a real thing. So you go, is that kayfabe or is that a shoot, or work or a shoot? So he's in a feud with a guy that started literally right the second after my last moment in the ring as Don Chaco. Okay. They beat me up, sent me out. and he starts celebrating in the ring. And when he's celebrating in the ring, he calls 2 women up into the ring, does some sort of weird dance party thing with them, has fun with them, and then realizes, hey, wait a minute, aren't you the mother and the sister of my next opponent? And then he insults them sexually and kicks them out of the ring. Out comes his opponent, and they start their feud, and it was a really good match, and it came right to the end, and kind of a fucky finish. And then they keep their feud going. So the next time that they had a match together, there was the barbs back and forth of the insults, your family, and they just kind of went at each other. Now, again, had I had any say in this, I would have been like, yeah, you know what? It's probably not a good idea is bringing in like sexual insults to family members, like calling them whores and stuff. Probably something I wouldn't do. It's, when I was running the show, that wouldn't have happened. But the problem is that this guy's the second in command. He should know better. And so while they were doing this, his opponent said a line that was, in my opinion, way over the line. Because basically this guy's running a mouth about the mother and the sister, and he's always talking about how he's having coitus relations with this sister of his opponent. And this opponent guy, because he's only like 20 or 22, and he's only been in the business for like a year. He just started, and he's improvising, and he's trying to, on the fly, come up with it. Like, it's like a your mama thing. Mm-hmm. And he throws out, oh, you say you're there with my sister on top of you. Well, I'm underneath with your daughter. Terrible line. Just a terrible line. I mean, and also it's like, dude, you're the baby face. You don't say that. Like, who's coaching you on this? Oh, this guy. So he says this line, and it goes either the guy didn't hear it, or the guy who said the line, he insists that the champion guy heard it. And then later, somewhere in the match, when there was like 3 guys on one being the opponent and the other guy being the champion guy in the group of 3, the opponent guy got a concussion. Okay. So, could have been an accident, or it could have been what we call a receipt. Mm-hmm. Flash forward to the next event, because the guy had a concussion. We're kind of giving him the event off. And we have been building up this whole storyline for Sully to have his first rematch with this guy that was literally the last match of Luchando. We're setting up for the Luchando 10-year anniversary. We've been building up the story for the whole year. He goes into his match. He gets beaten up. Okay, so he gets beaten up. He wins, but he's beaten up. He's laying on the mat. The opponent guy, whose sister and mother, that guy, he comes into the ring. He starts, trash talking. Again, part of the story, trash talking. And he makes that same line again about, I'm underneath with your daughter. This causes our professional, our veteran, our teacher to break kayfabe, pop back up, go off script. He was supposed to lay there while Sully is supposed to be announced to come out, and we're setting up the big fight for this month. Mm-hmm. He pops up, doesn't sell the injury, doesn't sell that he got beat. It's like as if he just came straight out of the curtain fresh, and proceeds to, and you've seen the video, he proceeds to punch the guy repeatedly in the face, knee him in the head on the way down. He's already unconscious, and kick him in the face 2 more times. Then pick up our championship belt that he's the champion of and throw it in the guy's face. Then he proceeds to get out of the ring and go and grab his stuff from the back, then yell to his wife and his daughter, like, time to go. They get ready because they're the ones who run the door. He goes to the front. He's grabbing the money box where all the ticket money came in. Sully has to come out, break character, break everything, grab the money box back from him while the guy goes out and pouts, and then quits that night, then quits the next night, or quits the next, it reaffirms that he's quit the next day. But his whole time, he's explaining himself, I was defending my daughter. And it's like, okay, I get that, but I also don't. You're supposed to be the professional. It's in kayfabe. You brought in and called his mom and his sister whores. So you kind of set that feud in motion that way. You are also supposed to rehearse your lines before the show, which you didn't do, which you should do, but you didn't do. and you tossed the belt like it was trash, and you tossed our entire build up to the storyline like that. So here I am, just like I'm watching WrestleMania this weekend, and I'm thinking like they had this big build up with like John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and it would be like all of a sudden, like right before, like on this Friday before the WrestleMania weekend started, John Cena goes, "Yeah, you know what? Fuck you. I don't like what you said. I'm out." Like, or if Cody Rhodes said, "Fuck you, I'm out. I don't like this storyline. I'm out. I didn't like it. I was over the line. You said something over the line." So flash forward now to so he quits. But then like a couple days later, he comes back to Sully and he's like, tries to apologize and go, "I got an idea on how we can spin this into a storyline." And Sully's like, "No, like you quit, but even if you didn't quit, you're not allowed back in. Like if you have a guard dog that you've like trained and worked with and play with and fed and grew and became a part of your family and is like in your family photos and all that kind of stuff like that, and you love this dog, and even you've let this dog train other dogs that you get along the way, but then one day that dog snaps and bites your daughter's face off,
you put it down.
It's not your guard dog anymore. You're not going to trust that guard dog anymore. You're going to trust it for anything else. So I'm sorry, but you completely obliterated the business with your kayfabe breaking. You injured the guy a second time, making yourself legally liable, but also the company legally liable. You tossed the belt like it was trash. So you've just crapped on everything that we're doing, and now you're like, "Oh yeah, no, but I was just defending my daughter." It's like, look, if the guy hopped out of the ring and started molesting your daughter, then yes, you could beat the hell out of him. That's a very different thing. If he's saying mean words about your daughter in kayfabe because you're not really a bad guy and he's not really sleeping with your daughter, like there is literally no reason for this snap. So he gets booted out, and 4 other guys from our group quit with him. And they're explaining, they're like, and he's saying to me, "You're not like a real dad. You wouldn't defend, you don't deserve to be a father because you wouldn't defend your daughter that way." I'm like, "No, I wouldn't defend my daughter like a freaking gorilla monkey, like flip out, like lose my mind."
Yeah.
I'd probably jaw jack you in the back. I might even shove you in the back. But in front of the paying crowd at the end of a show, setting up for a big event, the biggest event of the year, yeah, no. Sorry, I have a little bit more impulse control than that, which brings me back to guilt-splaining. I hate this shit. I hate it when somebody is clearly guilty, clearly on video, clearly shown as these things, and we have to go like, "Well, what did he say to him?
Yeah.
What did he say to him? What are the other factors? Maybe we didn't get all the details."
There's one that I really remember from years ago. I think it was like 2020, somewhere in there, but it's like a Dillard's, or a Macy's or something like that, like a mall clothing store. Mm-hmm. And this black teenager just starts savagely beating this old white man that works in the store for seemingly no reason. And the comments weren't like, "What the fuck, send this guy to prison?" It was like, "Well, I think so
he must have said the N-word."
Saw somewhere that he said the N-word. And I'm like,
still doesn't give you an excuse to violently assault someone.
Yeah. And that one was really mind-opening to me back at that time. That it was just like, no, you can't just like go primally beat someone almost to death because even if he did say a word, which I don't believe he did because it's a video with no audio.
Yeah. It's like, again, this is what divides us.
Yeah.
As groups. I see guilty behavior and I don't try to explain it away. I don't. Well, and you could flip that and you could be like, "Well, you guys tried to explain away Kyle Rittenhouse." Self-defense is literally not guilty. Okay? Yeah. That's literally built into the law.
It's a difference between an explanation and an excuse. And most of the time the guilt-splaining is making excuses for why it was okay that I did this thing that I very obviously did.
Yeah, as like, opposed to they had to do it, or you don't understand the struggle. Fuck you. That doesn't fly. I reject your thesis. And it got me thinking, because like we're seeing right now with this Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf thing where, it was self-defense. How? Because you went into the wrong fucking tent and you were carrying a knife at a track meet and he told you to leave.
Yeah. It was self-defense based on the very, very small amount of evidence, which points to it not being self-defense. Now, they could release some video that shows something that makes it look like
where Austin Metcalf is
holding a gun or something,
and smashing his head against the ground or something. But I doubt it because there's no sign of a struggle on the guy.
Yeah, exactly. And if that video existed, it would be on every fucking news network on the planet. It'd just be like, white supremacist Austin Metcalf attacks Carmelo Anthony, gets what he deserves.
It never exists. That video never exists because it never happens.
Yeah,
it just never exists. Like this whole thing, like this boogeyman, where you always have to find this Schrodinger's racist. You know what I mean?
Well,
like you have to
Kyle Rittenhouse is a great example of this. If it hadn't been for that video,
I know
that kid would be in prison.
Absolutely, he would. And okay, but that got me thinking even more. You know what pisses me off is the insanity plea, right? Or unfit to stand trial.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait, hang on, what? Okay, you have a death penalty. Why do you have a death penalty? What is the death penalty for? Is it to dissuade bad behavior? Sure. But it's also to keep society safer. Yeah. And generally speaking, you don't just lay that down on the innocent, right? Usually they have to go through quite a bit to get to that point. It's got to be pretty clear. What the hell is the insanity plea for? Okay. Yeah, if you're not insane, but you go on a killing rampage, we got to kill you. But if you are insane, we're supposed to take care of you for the rest of you. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Why? Because you're clearly unsafe to put back out into society.
Also, with an insanity plea in there, it's like, all right, we sent him to 18 months in this rehabilitation clinic, and now he's cured, no longer insane. It's like I would feel much safer as a population if like the guard dog analogy. Someone grabs a gun and shoots up a movie theater or a church or whatever, and we catch him. Just fucking put him down. Once the
even apprehending him at that point,
just fucking put him down.
Yeah, and I know that I'm saying this. I'm a Catholic, and the last Pope said that we had it taken out of the catechism, which is not a binding document, by the way, but had it taken out of the catechism because even in the Bible, God commands the capital punishment. Even in the Bible, God commands it. So listen. Capital punishment in general is kind of it's a just punishment when you're guilty, and you're a danger to society, but it's also kind of merciful. And hear me out. It's also kind of merciful in that, Tab.
Yes.
You don't know the day you're going to die.
Actually,
you don't.
I ran death. What was it? Do you remember deathclock.org where you'd put in your date of birth and your BMI, give you your date of death?
I don't remember this, but yeah,
I remember
how long you got? Have you outlasted it?
Mine is it's sometime in February, 2047, I think.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, but to actually know the day you're going to die is something that most people will never get. They'll never get it.
Yeah.
Right? They'll never get it. Now, for those who believe, to know the date of your death gives you a deadline to get your soul in order, get squared with God. It gives you the opportunity, the mercy to get square, to find the priest, to confess your sins, to start praying, just because it's over and you deserve it. We just come through Easter, and who's next to Jesus on the cross but two thieves? And one of them's get yourself, show how powerful you are, get yourself down. And the other one's dude, we deserve to be here. He doesn't. Right? He says to him, I deserve to die, and but all I ask of you is, can you remember me when you're in paradise? And Jesus is like, no, my brother, you'll be with me today on this day in paradise. Like, that was his confession in front of everybody. He knows I was guilty, he says, and I deserve this, he says, and then God forgives him on the cross. And so, like, there's this behavior, there's this thing. I brought up narcissism before, and I think it's truly a part of our narcissistic society, but just this idea that you cannot accept your own guilt because you don't want to admit a narcissistic imagery. You don't want to admit that you are what that mirror says you are, right? You don't want to admit it. You want to deny and deny and deny. So these other four guys had the audacity to put out a public statement saying that it was unjust that this guy got any punishment at all for pummeling their coworker, their guy who's a student with them. You trust this guy who doesn't rehearse, who doesn't know how to keep kayfabe, who violently assaults one of his own students, doesn't deserve any punishment because bad words in storyline to a heel about his daughter, who could be literally anyone. You don't even have to admit that it's the other daughter. But then they said she wasn't even, they didn't even want to, they brought her into the story without her permission. You called his mother and his sister a whore, and you had the daughter in the storyline. She turned heel with me. We had her turn heel on her dad. And so the fans don't think the girl at the door who's running the ticket booth is having sex with that guy who just said that in the ring. Nobody thinks that. Yeah. Nobody thinks that. Now, if he's making an insult towards the parenting of this heel character, and she's a heel in the storyline from before, so it's a comment at, you are a bad father, but it's kayfabe. We all know you're not a bad father. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And this idea that I'm supposed to just turn away and be like, oh, yeah, he was just defending his daughter. That makes it A-okay. They squashed the beef and everything's fine. It's like, no, we can't have him in the ring anymore. We don't know when the next time this is going to happens.
See, and that's also like with the capital punishment thing. I remember, I think when I was in high school, maybe, Stanley Tukey Williams was getting, one of the founders.
Oh, I remember that.
Crips of the Bloods. And they're like, oh, Stanley Tukey Williams should get clemency because he turned his life around and found God and wrote these children books about how being in a gang is bad. And they were like a New York Times bestseller. And that was when I found out that in order to be a New York Times bestseller, you only have to sell like 1,200 books.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't even like he was
a New York Times.
a prolific author. He was just, he was, and I was just, it was also mind blowing that it's like, people are defending the founder of a gang who I'm super happy that this dude found God and is like wants to be forgiven for his sins. That's between him and God. The state has said that he needs to be put down for everything that he's done wrong, and we should abide by that to stop fucking funneling money into a black hole.
And that's not cruel and unusual. It's literally biblical. It's literally biblical. So I don't get this. And it's just, for me, it's this concept of explaining away the guilty. It's like we all can agree this guy is totally guilty, but I can explain. It's like, no, sorry, you committed the crime. I don't even know, dude. I don't even know where this whole bullshit of well, he was starving, so he could steal a loaf of bread. This trope that comes up in all these different things. It's like, yeah, I get it. You're really but how many steps till you got to that point? How many steps till you got to the point where you're stealing loaves of bread for your family that literally doesn't happen? What are we talking about here? Right?
Yeah.
Most of the time when I see somebody stealing from a store, it's DVD players and shoes. You know what I mean? It's not loaves of bread. So quit the shit. Quit the guilt explaining.
There are dozens of charities that will. When I was in college, so I used to park at I think it was a Methodist church, but it was right near campus. and their parking lot was free to students except for like 8 spaces on Tuesdays and Thursdays because they operated a food bank, and the food bank was open to the public on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you would go in and they give you a brown paper bag, that you get at a grocery store filled with, I assume, the basics. I saw people coming out of there all the time.
Yeah.
And that always, I always liked that church more than the Baptist church down the street from it that was actually closer to campus, because that Methodist church, if they had a funeral or something, they put up these signs, please no parking, we have a funeral. And everyone honored that.
Yeah.
The Baptist church down the street charged $3 a day to park in their lot. And
I'm not gonna touch the Baptists, but
they've got a guy out there collecting money. It's like you're running a business. This is not a charitable thing. You're running a business without paying any fucking taxes because you're a
Jesus
church.
turned some tables over for that kind of crap.
And that shit always bothered me. It's like this church down here, they're just like, yeah, we've got a parking lot. If you guys need to use it to get to class, feel free. Please just give us these 8 spaces. And if we need it, don't park here. And we're all like, yeah, you know what? You're actually serving the community and not being a bunch of pricks. I would be delighted to honor your request not to park here today.
I used to give to the St. Vincent de Paul Society, which is like the food bank set up by the Catholic Church, at least in Canada. I don't know if you guys have it in the US. But I used to work with charities all the time. And a lot of those charities are garbage. They're total garbage, like huge admin fees, huge marketing fees, just like hidden bullshit where they're just skimming, they're just coin shaving every single amount that you bring in to donate to them. But the St. Vincent de Paul Society is 100% volunteer. And they set it up in the church. You bring the food, then they have volunteers that go and deliver the food to the people who need the food. Right?
Yeah.
How much simpler can it be? If you give money to it, then the church group goes out and buys food with that money. They don't even charge back for the gas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just food. That's real. That's real charity. I love that stuff. But it's not like you don't have to. But all the like the WWF, you have to explain away all your stuff. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, when a group is pissed off because of this, like, George Floyd was executed by the police because of this systemic injustice, and the only way we can get that back is by burning a target to the ground. It's like,
prosecuting a man who is following his like procedural orders, and on video we see him saying, "Put me on the ground," and we see him saying, "I can't breathe," before the guy was on him, and we tested his body, and he had like elephant loads of fentanyl. Come on, what are we doing?
This is another thing that's driving is the Eldar Barcia Gar whatever, and the guy that got deported to El Salvador. And it's like the Democrats literally cannot pick a person that isn't just the most reprehensible piece of shit on the planet to back.
They guilt-splain it. They're like, he's only like that because of your policies, or you're this, or you're that. And it's just like, shut up. Like, you can't explain away crime.
Yeah.
This is that heat map shit. You know what I mean? Like, have you seen the heat map thing? This is that heat map shit where you go out of your way to explain why this person's not guilty, and then you have the audacity to go the other way and make shit up.
Yeah.
It just makes shit up. And like, okay, your group is all guilty because of this thing, and we find out it wasn't true. You made it up. It's like, what are we doing here? And I'm tired of it. Guilt-splaining. That's my issue.
Yeah. People spend more energy trying to make themselves not look like they fucked something up than they will just not fucking it up in the first place. And it always it makes me crazy because it's so much easier to just be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I did that. And we're talking about like capital murder and assault and stuff, but it'll be little stuff in your life. And I think that's where that like slowly builds, where you don't take responsibility for like the little stuff that you mess up in your life, and then that just it balloons and expands. Whereas
I think I brought that up before, like lying. I don't like lying.
Yeah,
like even little lies. If you just do a little lie, you get the habit of those little lies, they become like slightly medium lies, and then slightly bigger
I got
lies.
away
And it
with
just
this one.
turns into like you're just comfortable with all lies. And
Whereas if you just go like, yeah, I messed that up. I forgot to send that email. It got just got buried in everything this week. Sorry about that.
totally.
Yeah, the person's gonna be like, well, what are you, a goof off? But they're gonna, oh, well, at least he's a goof off that tells me what the actual thing is instead of jerking me around.
Exactly. It's like, take responsibility for yourself on these things. But it's like when you bring up the Democrats doing it, it's like all politicians do this crap. All politicians do this. All economists do this crap. Like, like it doesn't matter. Like, Trump couldn't pass this thing because he didn't have the support of the Senate and the House or whatever. It's like, well, explain away the super majorities in the first 2 years. Like the same thing with Barack Obama. It's like, oh, he couldn't end war, or he couldn't do what he said he was going to do because he didn't have the support. It's like, but he had a super majority for the first 2 years. Like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The obstructionists, they kept us from doing this. Cory Booker got up there and talked for 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like, or what was it? The yellow cake uranium. Oh, we had the weapons of mass destruction, and we were operating on the information we had at the time. No, you weren't. You were operating on a sell the narrative so that you can go and please your military-industrial complex masters and end lives. We're seeing it now. Well, we have to respond this way. Do you? Do you have to respond this way? Okay. All right. Kind of genocidal. Just throwing it out there. It looks pretty freaking horrible. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of deaths. I think that's significant.
What was districts of buildings are just fields of smoldering rubble, which I'm okay with, but I want the fields of smoldering rubble to be the homes of politicians. If we're going to launch a genocide, it needs to be against the people that claim to represent the people in the United States first, and then we can go after the Canadians.
You guys have already killed Canada's economy. Yeah, let's also gloat in it. Let's make some bad AI videos to make it look like this is going to be the best, and gloat in it, because that's not tone deaf at all. That's totally not tone deaf and psychopathic.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, I'm done.
This
one's pissed me off too much because it's been absurd. It's just absolutely absurd. And like,
it's crazy to me that like you're an actor on a stage. You're pretending to be an evil wrestler man, and someone's like, and then someone's mean to you, and it's just like, dude, bro, this is all pretend. This is all pretend.
Well, that's the thing. The guy that he beat up could easily have beat him up had he known that he was in a fight.
Yeah.
The guy pops out. He doesn't even defend him because he's like, that's my profe. That's my teacher. Like, he gets belted a bunch of times. Doesn't even block. Just gets knocked out on his feet.
When you sent me the video, I was like, this is good looking fake wrestling, but I don't. And then when he stepped away and the guy's sitting there, I'm like, oh, that guy might be dead.
He's going to the hospital. Yeah.
Like, and
fully concussed, and it was his second concussion in 2 shows. Like, what are we doing? And then to explain it away, I can't, dude. It's the same thing as my fucking neighbors. It's my same thing as my fucking neighbors.
We didn't know we were supposed to sign these papers.
What are you talking about? Yeah, like we what do you mean we were supposed to have documents ahead of time? What do you mean you're not going to give us the money anymore? What do you mean we have to leave peacefully? Fucking tired of it. Tired of it, man. That's my issue.
I feel you. Well, that takes us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for the Smoke Signal News Network. There's about to be a lot of world-breaking. There's about to be live streams on every major news network of a chimney with smoke coming out of the top of it.
Oh yeah, we're happening.
There's
make it white.
Yeah.
Make it white smoke.
So this is where you come for your breaking smoke signal news. I've got a news story here that you will enjoy from right here in St. Louis.
Okay, then.
The St. Louis Blues are in a late season playoff push, and
now you got me already pissed off. You know, I'll get into it after. You give me your thing, and I'm going to tell you why I hate the St. Louis fucking Blues.
Yeah,
go ahead.
But they have a force behind them that is not on the court with them. But do you know who it is?
Is it Joe Boo?
It's Joe Boo from the 1989 baseball comedy Major League. They have given Joe Boo a center spot in the locker room. It's from the movie Major League. Pedro Serrano has a.
That's going to bite them in the ass. They're not going to make the playoffs for 20 years because of this. That's cursed.
6 years since Glory was the anthem of the Blues franchise first Stanley Cup run in 2019, Joe Boo's arrival is the latest good luck charm, and his presence is felt by the entire roster. The local media noticed Joe Boo's arrival in late February, and when asked about his origins, the standard reply from Blues players is that the doll just showed up. While it's not clear if the team has offered Joe Boo rum or cigars to get his blessings, what is clear is the Blues have been the hottest team since Joe Boo's arrival. They were 8 points out of the final wild card spot in the Western Conference. So,
you know who they knocked out? Do you know who they knocked out of that final spot?
The Flames,
the Calgary fucking Flames. And get this.
Should have gotten to Joe Boo.
Well, here's the thing. Remember when I said to you, I'm like, hey, the Flames are in town. And they played 2 games in a row in St. Louis, and you couldn't go to either of them, right? Well, the Flames lost both of those. Had they won one of them, had they even forced one to go to overtime and lost in overtime, the Flames would be in the playoffs right now, because the Flames and the Blues both finished with exactly the same amount of points at the end of the season. The Flames tied the NHL record for most points to not make the playoffs with 96. The last 2 in the Eastern Conference that made it in have less points than the Flames. And we didn't make it in because St. Louis had more regulation wins in the season than the Flames. They had more losses, but they had more regulation wins in the season. And that came down to the tiebreaker. The Flames tied them, and it wasn't enough to get in. And that's why I hate the Blues. But now I get it. They had Joe Boo with them. And here's the other funny thing. So the Flames have a Joe Boo history.
Yeah.
The Flames have a Joe Boo history. We used to go to Anaheim, and we had this like streak that we couldn't win in Anaheim for the life of us from 2005 all the way until like 2018, right? Like it was a streak that was really embarrassing. So in the final year that we finally broke the streak of losing there, because they used to chant it. You go into Anaheim and the fans knew that Calgary had this losing streak there, and they would just chant, "You can't win here." And they were right every time. And so the Flames enlisted the help of Joe Boo. And they had Joe Boo in their locker room. They had Joe Boo in there, and they finally broke the streak. So they win in Anaheim, and then it ended up going on a big losing streak to everybody else afterwards. So Joe Boo was like, he broke their curse in one way and then brought in a new one, and they couldn't make the playoffs for the longest time afterwards. So careful what you wish for, St. Louis. You're going to get in trouble with having that fro-haired character.
St. Louis they're already cursed. They live in St. Louis.
It's bad enough as it is. Yeah.
Someone actually asked me this week. They're like, "What? Did you dye your hair blue because of the Blues?" And I was like, "No, I don't know anything about hockey. I didn't even know we were in the playoffs until I found this news story."
Well, speaking of sports, the world's first sperm race to be held in Los Angeles. An unusual startup announced the world's first sperm race, a race involving actual sperm, will be held April 25th at the Hollywood Palladium in Los Angeles. Sperm Racing, a startup founded by a team of young millionaires. Can't wait to find out their names. Oh, no. Yeah, there we go. They got their names. Announced representatives from 2 competing schools, the University of Southern California and the University of California, Los Angeles, will provide the microscopic swimmers for the inaugural sperm race. The race will take place under a microscopic camera that will track the progress of the sperms as they attempt to cross the finish line. The startup said there will be 3 races held to determine the overall winner, and play-by-play commentary will be provided during each heat. There will also be instant replays, leaderboards, and betting through approved partners. And so sperm racing isn't just about racing sperm, although let's be honest, that's hilarious. Co-founder Eric Zhu wrote in the Sperm Racing Manifesto, it's about turning health into a competition. It's about making male fertility something people actually want to talk about, track, and improve. Zhu wrote that health is a race and everyone deserves a shot at the starting line. Is this haram? Like this is pretty degenerate though, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is definitely like, if I were going to be putting on signs of the collapse
End of the
Western society,
that's up there, right?
Yeah.
It's gotta be. We are one step closer
to Al my balls.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. What else do we got?
Well, in a 3-for-3 sports sweep of the news so far, I have some news from Germany. Mm-hmm. The company ASB Glass Floor they make floors out of fused together layers of safety glass covered on top of LED panels, and they want to replace the American wooden basketball court with LED panels so that you can create a light up, more engaging version of basketball, I guess.
So you can make it like NBA Jam, you know, like when you hit the 3-pointer, you can have it like he's on fire.
I think that's the kind of stuff they want to do, and they do like they add graphics to games in football and soccer and whatnot because it's on a green field and it's easy to composite in, but it's not so easy with the shiny wooden gym floor. So they want to add these giant glass panels. People say, oh well, won't glass break, but it's actually it has a lot of give and flexibility that's more than what wood does, and it's got the frame holding it together keeps it springy the same way a wood floor is. The visuals are the bigger selling point. Arena managers could easily update a court's look instead of using space storing hardwood stacks for multiple designs and paying for labor to install or update them, or coaches could set up their own practice regimen with on-court visual cues. And yes, a team could even opt for a hardwood panel look on
there you go, Brian.
Digital light up floor. I don't
know what I feel about this. Like, because will it still have that stupid squeaky shoe noise?
Oh, definitely
permeates the whole thing. Or they'll just pipe it in if they don't have it. Yeah, and then the other thing is that again, I'm going to come at this from a hockey perspective. So is this thing going to be in like pieces? Or like, because it can't possibly be one big long sheet, right? It's going to have to be in pieces, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be individual panels that'll all lock together and then be programmed.
Yeah, because going in, but back, because right now the way it's working is like, let's say the Rangers are playing at MSG, Madison Square Garden, and then like the Knicks play like a few nights later. They have like a method of putting like the court, I guess, on top of the ice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not sure how they. I mean, there's a logistical side of it.
That's a good point that I didn't think of, because we did the same thing in Tulsa in the arena where we would lay down this composite kind of. It was like a fiberglass MDF kind of thing, and we'd lay that all down on the hockey rink. And then when we did concerts, we would do concerts on top of that. And then when we had basketball games, the court would be then laid on top of that. But I gotta imagine, these things put out heat. They have to have a heat vent somewhere, and I can't imagine it's coming out the top. It's gotta be going down.
To replace ice takes a while, right? Mm-hmm. Like they do it during the year, but like it takes a long time. Like you gotta heat it up, you gotta break it up, you gotta get rid of it, then you gotta like start all over.
It was 2 days in and 2 days out for the ice floor, and we only took it out for like if one of the chiller plants went down. I remember during the season that I was there, one of the chiller plants went down and we lost the ice. And then,
was that I remember that was the Drillers, right?
Oilers.
Oh, okay, yeah. Drillers is the baseball team.
Drillers is the baseball team. Yeah. The we did not Monster Jam, professional bull riding. We did professional bull riding.
PBR.
Yeah, so the hockey rink was in, we put down that fiberglass stuff, they put down plywood on top of that, and then they trucked in truckloads, dump trucks full of dirt
Yep.
on top of all of that for the bull riding, and then had to, pull that all out. And it was easier to do that than to let the ice melt and then refreeze it.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
so
it
crazy.
was crazy stuff. But I mean, I think it's neat. I think it's a cool. It would add a visual thing.
It would look
Um,
good. I don't like basketball anyway, but I mean, if it helps people who are on the fence about basketball, maybe they should try it out in the WNBA first to see if it actually moves the needle at all for that, just to see how it
yeah,
goes.
yeah.
Maybe
Apparently,
that's the
some
way to go.
places have them already. In Germany and Greece. In the U.S., Kentucky used one in October for its Big Blue Madness event, marking the ceremonial
Hmm.
season start for Wildcats basketball. So
Hmm.
I don't know. We might be seeing something different than those gym floors. I also
I'm
thought that
surprised that they can't just do that though on the ice or sorry on the surface anyway without it, right? Like, because like
well,
in
I'm not.
hockey,
I know they can put graphics on TV, but they want they
but
want to
why?
bridge
You're
the
at the
gap.
fucking game. Like, what do
Yeah,
you need? Like, you've got to jump. I guess it just seems like
I also
expensive.
basketball is like hockey in that I think those two are pretty exciting sports to watch because of the rate of movement and how much stuff is happening
Compared to
versus
like
something like
baseball or football.
baseball, soccer, and football where it's just
Yeah.
long fucking stretches of nothing.
Oh yeah, like
So does
if
it
you've never
even
been
really
to a
need
football game in real life before, you have no idea how boring actually being at the game is. Like it's just so
yeah.
much waiting and you get it all filled in with replays and commercials when you're watching it on TV, but it's not the same when you're there. And baseball I can excuse because baseball is just an excuse to drink and watch something in the park, right? And eat food. And whereas football, yeah, you can eat food there, but nobody ever talks about how good football food is. That's just not what
Hmm.
nobody
Yeah.
talks about that. You just talk about lines at the bathroom for the urinal. That's what you talk about at a football game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Painting your chest and that kind of stuff.
exactly. All right. Yeah, TV timeouts are in the NFL games. Yeah, we have the same in hockey as well. But like in hockey, you make up for it with all the constant action in between the whistles, and they usually in hockey games they'll do like a trivia section or some sort of silly game
Hmm.
or something like that. But good news. I'm interested in seeing what it looks like. Maybe I'm being an old curmudgeon about it. We'll see how it looks like. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? They might end up doing the same for hockey because you could possibly do that. You could possibly put like a clear ice over top of
Hmm.
something like that and then have it, but that seems expensive and unnecessary, especially given that not a lot of people go to hockey games in the US. But all right, good ones. Yeah, so shall we close up the news bag?
Yes, this has been the Smoke Signals News Network. Be sure to join in our live streaming coverage of smoke going up all over the world, going up in smoke. Smoking if you got them. And if you want to support the show, you can visit us at patreon.com/HWIDG, which stands for
Here's what I don't get.
which is the name of the show. And over there, we have two tiers, just two: the $1 tier and the $5 tier. The $1 tier gets you early access to eat. Well, no, it's like the same. They just go out when they go out. It's just a
Yeah.
way to say, hey, I support the show. Please keep doing it. The $5 tier, we throw some bonus content up. I do not think we're going to get one up by the end of April because we only have 8 days, and I'm working like 5 of
Sorry.
them.
We'll do
Yeah,
we'll
sorry
do
about that.
double.
We'll
We'll do
try and do
double on another
double
one.
next month.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate all of our patrons and the support for the show. Your help, you basically offsetting the cost of hosting on the website and paying for StreamYard each month, which they keep sending me emails about like, we got these brand new cool new features. I'm like, yeah, cool. Does that mean the price is going up? Yes, it also means the price is going up. That's what I thought.
What are the new
And then
features we're gonna get?
I don't know. It's nothing that I seem to have found any need to use yet. Yeah.
How about you just make it so that like if we put on the like intro video, it doesn't kill the audio on the
On us talking. Yeah, that would be
yeah,
great.
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right.
But yes, thank you to our patrons for supporting us, and thank you to the listeners for listening to the show and continue to be part of the community. Really, really appreciate it. We like having you all around. So keep on hanging out.
Thanks, brothers.
Do you want to take a break real quick?
We can. Yeah, let's do that real quick.
I need to grab my tablet because I forgot that I have notes for my next issue on it.
Oh my goodness, he's brought in notes, everybody. All right.
We'll be right back.
We should really get a please stand by video or something like that. I'll work on that. Did you guys have a good Easter? He brought in notes, everybody. Like that's like old school. That's like first season of Here's What I Don't Get style. Yeah. I used to have this like Word document always up and go through it. Now it's just off the cuff and a lot worse.
Well, I mean, this is still very much off the cuff, but I have to find where I took the notes.
I was gonna say we need to make a we'll be right back video that we can put on at any time during the middle of the show.
It's all show notes. Here it is. Yes. Okay, great. So, but let's get back into some issues, shall we?
We shall.
Here's what I don't get. Television ads. I've been since before I was on this show, I've been a cord cutter. Like I've basically been living a pretty ad-free life for the last, what are we up to? 8+ years.
Yeah.
Long time. I gotta say it's great. I really don't like ads. But so a few weeks ago, I was back in Norman and they put me up in this like on-campus apartment suites thing. So it was like a 2-bedroom bungalow. It was nicer than anywhere I lived when I was in college. And there's a bedroom that I slept in, and there was a bedroom that I kept my suitcase in to change clothes. It had a little living room, had a little dining area, had a little kitchenette. Kitchenette had no way to make food other than a microwave. There's a full-size fridge and a microwave, and that was it in this kitchen. So I went and bought some food at the grocery store so that I wasn't eating out every single meal. But it had to be stuff that like didn't need to get hot. So it was a lot of sandwiches and like fruit and stuff for breakfast. But the other thing about being in this place was I had a TV, and the TV was only serviced with basic cable. So when I was killing time, post show. Like I get back post show and I'd eat like a late dinner, or I'd be eating lunch there before I go out to the theater. And I guess I could have pulled out my laptop and like popped up in YouTube and watched something, but yeah, TV's right there. Might as well. And so I would kind of surf around and find something not objectionable watch. It was like King of the Hill or Seinfeld or something along those lines. Usually what I ended up watching is some old sitcom. But I noticed, man, these ads on television are pure cancer. Like it felt like every third one was for it was either for a medication or for a horrific disease that can only be treated with a medication. And the medication was like, it would be like, try Prophylactic. And if you want to go to your doctor and ask him if it would be better, would be right for you. And I'm like, yeah, but what does it treat? I'm just going to walk in there and be like, hey, I saw this ad, doctor. Like, yeah, I saw that ad too. You don't have the thing here. Or it would be like, do you have HIV? You can take this HIV medicine. Ask your doctor about it. I'm like, well, a lot of the population doesn't have HIV, but hey, thanks for chiming in for me.
Well, and also too, it's like, what are you doing? Just do it the way you always do. Send the drug rep, send the like 9s and 10s in heels and pulling that cart behind them to give swag and freebies and free Carnival cruise trips to the doctors so that they prescribe your thing, like the old days, like the good old days. Don't pollute my mind with your stuff. I apologize. I had to mute my mic a bunch of times. My guard dog is going berserk at the fence line, so I think my neighbors must be crossing around nearby. So if I mute my mic, it's because of that. I don't know. Can you hear it? Is it bad for you? Because it's like totally bad for me over here. But
I wasn't noticing.
All right. How about you guys in the? All right. Okay. Go back to your thing. Sorry.
So finally, one night, I decided to take some notes on what these ads were for. So I'm watching Storage Wars. This is
I love Storage Wars.
Yeah, great show.
Yeah.
So this is from 9:30 to 10:30. I'm watching Storage Wars. There were 31 ads in the 9:30 time slot, and they were in order. I'm going to read: Olay, a body wash; Liberty Mutual Insurance; Lowe's; Ozempic, that's a drug.
Yep, that drug.
Crest toothpaste kind of falls in that health and beauty. Papa John's, a probiotic Vitamass, some Crohn's disease thing, an allergy pill, an advertisement for a channel show, a show on the same channel, an ad for a show on another channel, an obesity cure, an HIV medicine, a body wash, laundry detergent, a bank, toothpaste again, a vodka iced tea that played back to back twice, a Rice Krispies treat, Johnny Walker Black, I think this is Downy, some kind of medicine of some kind, Chewy, the pet stuff, USAA insurance, Almond Breeze, the milk, a Burger King, Cascade, Club Crackers, and then a channel show that was coming on the next day. What I color coded these because the other thing that I noticed about watching these fucking ads is that they are all for women. They are all for women.
Even the Johnny Walker.
Yeah. And so the category, what I was writing down was if it was a woman main character, and if there wasn't a man in it.
Okay. So like the reverse. What is that? That test that they do?
The Bechdel test.
Yeah. Is it a reverse Bechdel test?
We got to talk about that after the show today. So the Papa John's ad was just about the pizza. It wasn't about, it was voiced by a man, but it was about the pizza. It wasn't like, just like, look at this delicious pizza, eat this delicious pizza, Papa John's. But so many of them would be like, just be like a woman walking around doing some stupid shit. And it'd be like, is Ozempic right for you? Are you fat and ugly? Try Ozempic. So of those 31 ads that I read, Papa John's was about pizza. So it had no character of any gender. The channel show was something called Accused. So it was just kind of like random clips. So no character of any gender. The other channel show was just had no. The vodka iced tea
let me
was
just intersect for because about the channel show things. So as somebody who had a television show and sold or tried to sell spots, there were 3 of them. Is that what there was 3 of them in there? Is that
yeah? There were 3 in total.
okay? That's 3 spots they didn't sell.
Okay.
That's 3 spots they did not sell. Because if you sell all of them, you don't have to put a channel show thing on there.
Yeah, so there were 3 of those. The vodka iced tea one, I think, was mostly just pictures of the vodka iced tea, and I don't remember if it was voiced by a man or a woman, but it was just like, try this delicious vodka iced tea. The Rice Krispies treats, again, just pictures of Rice Krispies treats. The Downy laundry detergent, I think that's what that says. Nothing. Chewy was, of course, about the animals, so no human main characters. And then Burger King was just like, Burger King, eat Burger King. Don't you like Burger King? Please don't wear our crowns on airplanes.
That's like my favorite GIF to use on Twitter. You just one letter, and it's right there every time.
So those were like the those are middle of the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 31.
9 of the 31.
There were USAA had a male main character. The Almond Breeze had a male main character, and Chase Bank had a male main character. There was a male in the obesity cure called Zepbound, and there was a male in the Crohn's disease thing called Rinvoq. And so that is 4. Maybe that's 3, maybe 5 of the 31, and the rest are all just women who need allergy medicine, women who need probiotic yogurt, women who need body wash, women who need to go to Lowe's. And then the next thing was about the same. There were slightly more non-gender specific stuff, so that it balanced out a little bit closer. But on that one, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 male main character ones with one that might have been slightly that I think had neutral. A male character in it.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. Like it was stuff for, Claritin or something to lose weight or something for your diabetes or something for your HIV or something for Crohn's disease or the fact that you have Crohn's disease or you're inflammatory arthritis. And I was just like, who is watching this shit? And how can you stand every 8 minutes of show that there's just 3 minutes of noise, and it's about nothing. It's and the stuff that's aimed at you, like in the same show, you'll get something for an Olay body wash, a Persil body wash, 3 different insurance companies, a bank. Like you don't know what fucking banks are. The food places I kind of get because it's like, oh, what am I in the mood for? Am I in the mood for pizza, or Burger King, or Rice Krispies treats, Reese's? But then you got like, I've never understood car commercials where it's like, check out the new 2025 Hyundai, blah blah blah. It's I did note this too. So in the first, I didn't note it on every single one, but I specifically wrote in because there was
We're all Cheerios ads now. We're all Cheerios ads. Remember that when that was a big deal?
So this list was just from the 9:30 to 10 o'clock. There's another list of the stuff from 10 to 10:30, which I won't get into, but I did make note that there was a different Lowe's ad in the 10 to 10:30, and I specifically wrote here, did have a white couple.
Oh.
and I was shocked. I was shocked in this day and age that I was like, a white man, and the man was the main character.
And a white woman. Wow.
A white man and a white woman. And
I never see those in public.
Never would have seen that in ads in the previous years. But yeah, it's just like this. It's so much noise. It's just like this ever-present washing over you noise. And like, I don't know who that works on. I don't know who's seeing a 30-second thing where they're like, Gain smells real good. Don't you want to buy Gain? It's like, I know about Gain. I've known about Gain for years. I buy the same laundry. I realize that this might be me coming at, like, this is literally coming at me from the here's what I don't get perspective.
They don't like you.
I don't get it.
They don't care about you. They don't market to you because you're not susceptible to that kind of marketing.
And it might be because I'm on the spectrum, but yeah, like, and I think a lot of men are this same way. And I've talked about this on the show before, where like we really just find the thing that works. You know, you get like, I buy the detergent that I like because that's the one that works, and
Mm,
I know where it is in the store. And the only reason why I would ever not buy it is if I was truly desperate for laundry detergent and they had no size of it. Like, I get the all free and clear, and I
mhm.
would buy the little packet pod things before I'd buy Tide, because I buy like the jugs
Yeah,
and pour it
yeah.
in.
No,
But yeah, if
you
they were like
mentioned something
completely
about
out of
that.
all the sizes of jugs, and I'd be like, all right, do you guys got the pods?
Well, because
But
like,
even then, I might be like, I'll you know what? I'll hit the this other store that I can make be on my way home, because
but that's the thing is it's slop, right? All of it's slop,
yeah,
and you're getting this slop fed to you, shoved on you at all times, and so it doesn't always work on you because you just said it. You're like, I get the all clear like laundry detergent. Let me guess, that doesn't have any additives, doesn't have any scents, doesn't have any like
yeah, it
bullshit
doesn't
in
have
it.
any sense. Yeah,
Okay,
and it's
so
better for your skin.
so the type of people that go and look for those kind of things, like we do, like a weird man, there's one brand of bread that sells like hot dog buns and burger buns that uses butter. All the
Hmm.
other ones use like vegetable oil or margarine. And so we know that one, but that's after looking at all these backs of bread containers to find them. Now, if that company had a marketing budget, they'd be like, just come out and say, we're the only ones who use real butter. 5-second ad. Like that's all
Well,
you would get. That's all you need.
that's the
Right.
other thing, and targeting it, because
Yeah.
like the ads you get on the internet are annoying, but at least like when I get an ad for Temu on, before a YouTube video when I watch it on my phone, it's like, hey, do you like electronics? Check out our cheap headphones. Or it's like, check out my AI, these new AI glasses that, give you directions while you're walking around. It's like, the targeting of it is like slightly less offensive to me than
Right.
just this, like, we're just throwing out slop for gain. It's and like if you hit me with an ad for something like, oh hey, here's this bread that's like not made with all this terrible shit and filled with sugar, I'd be like, oh cool, I'll
Well, that's
buy
the
that the
problem with
next time I'm in.
terrestrial cable. Like it's just you're casting a wide net. You don't know. You can sort of look into your data points on who's watching it, but like the rate. Have I brought Nielsen ratings in before as an issue? Because that's another one that
Oh,
needs to.
I got a Nielsen letter this week.
Are you going to take it? Are you going to do
I'm
it?
gonna take it. I'm gonna set the curve.
Okay, good. Do it. That's
Yeah.
like it's better than jury duty. Like it's more important than jury duty. Like I remember my family got asked to be it, and we're like, "Yeah, man. Like hook us up. Like we'll do it." And then they like came back and they're like, "Okay, great. We'll sign you up, but we went to your neighbor's house first, and we're supposed to go to them first, and if they turn it down, you're our guys." And then they didn't come back, so we know that our neighbors got it. And the neighbors were like an octogenarian and like his like still living with his parents' son, who was in his 60s, and it was like, oh, okay, we're not like
Yeah,
we're not
we're
going to
never
get the
getting good
best
TV.
ratings on things, we're not going to have a say. But like I told you, like one of the ways that I paid for Luchando, right, was that I figured out how to like make money online, like
Hmm.
like really good ROI online using Teespring and selling T-shirts. I told you this, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I had this like tool that I was able to like get the Facebook IDs of specific people based on search results of things. And it was awesome because you could just curate this thing, put this like file together, upload the file, and it would only market to the people that were on your file. And
Hmm.
so you could just pick out what you wanted and just snipe. So when you're spending your ROI on things, like you're not casting a wide net. You're literally, if you wanted to sell a T-shirt that just said "My name is Joe," You could just
Only gonna
literally
send it
only
to
go
guys
to
named
only
Joe.
guys who are named Joe, and
Yeah.
that it's a version of what I did, and it was awesome. We should have those kind of tools. I would love that kind of tool, but like that's also like what Siri or whatever the listening devices in your homes are, Echo or whatever, Amazon, all those things. That's all they're for. I mean, I don't hate targeted advertising. I don't like the way they do it, but like it's still, like you said, it's like at least it's like somewhat less offensive. When I'm watching YouTube here, I only get Paraguayan ads, and it's the same ones because it's the only Paraguayan companies that can afford to put an ad on YouTube or have a marketing budget to even think to do that. And so that's why I get them. That doesn't matter. I get the same bank ads, and I get the same, I get like Tigo, and I get like Personnel, and it's like I don't even get that signal out here, so I can't even get that cell phone. So you're wasting your time marketing to me. But
that's the other thing that I don't understand about the terrestrial ads, right? Is that it's nothing innovative, it's nothing new. It's just like, okay, here's an ad for a Hyundai, and it's like, has anybody walked in the dealership and been like, yeah, I was watching Storage Wars last night at 10:30 and saw this Hyundai commercial, so I thought I'd just swing in here and pick one up.
Because you're usually going to get the advertising by seeing it on the road. You know what I mean? You're going to see it on the road.
I understand what those ads are for, is to like build brand recognition and make a person. But is anybody like, they're getting their keys together, like, oh honey, I gotta go to the grocery store, I'm gonna buy some body wash, and it's like, hey, Old Spice, like, I'm gonna buy some Old Spice body wash because that's the last ad that I saw, as opposed to the body wash that I've been buying.
It does work on people though. That's
years.
The thing. You're underestimating the dumb. You're underestimating the susceptible, and man, like when I write my marketing stuff, it's like I have to write to a grade 7 reading level, and even that's too high. I have to write to like a grade 5, and it's like I'm like, wait, these are supposed to be retail investors. They're supposed to be smart. And then like one of my mentors is like, yeah, you'd think that. but they're not. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, okay, think about who's got the money to do this kind of stuff. It's either retirees or rich kids who don't have student loans, right? Like, I mean, somebody who follows like Wall Street bets or something like that. It just like, you're not dealing with like the super smart aren't even on the stock market. Like, or if they are, they're in some backroom way of screwing over the stock market. It's not, it's not like, anyway. No, advertising is a funny beast that way. And I have an issue then too with television ads, which is, okay, I never understood why I pay for cable so that you can put your show on so that I can see it. And you want as many people as possible to see this show so that you can sell ads to as many people as you can. Why do I have to pay the cable company? Like, why isn't that subsidized by the ads that you're making me watch, that I paid for access to this channel? Like, I understood HBO, right? Like, it was always expensive and all this kind of stuff, but like, I at least understood the capitalistic concept of it. It's like, I'm going to pay for a channel that doesn't have ads. And yet, like my tax dollars in Canada pay for CBC, but there's still ads. And then if I'm paying for the extra channels, why am I paying for those? Why aren't you just getting more from the advertisers to do that? Like, I don't understand that part. That part never made sense to me.
That also gets worse because, so everyone wanted to get away from cable a decade ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, cable would be great, but it has ads, and I have all these channels that I don't want, and I want an a la carte cable where I can just pick the channels that I want. And here comes Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and Disney, and they're like, hey, now you can just pay for the channel you want. And people are like, great, I'm going to buy Disney or Hulu or Netflix or Amazon or all of it. And now it costs more than cable did. Yep. And now, like, in a concerted effort, they're all like, by the way, we're putting ads on all our shit. Fuck you. Yeah. I was about to watch Navy SEALs today. I was like trying to find something to watch while I was eating. Yeah, while I was eating dinner, and it was like, I haven't seen that, and my goal did not watch to watch new movies this year, it's like, might as well pop that motherfucker on. And I hit the button on Amazon because I will scroll through Amazon to like find stuff and then just go torrent it because it doesn't have ads. But I clicked on it, and it's like giant letters, black screen, white letters, full size of my TV. This program is only available with ads. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Fuck you. And just exit right out of Amazon. And I hope they get a lot of fucking that signal happening where it's like, here's our, and he just turned it off. But I guess they don't care because you're still paying for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's, look, the economic model is broken. I brought up before, like, I don't like Hollywood accounting. And like, I think these actors are getting way too much for these movies that took them 6 weeks to film. It's just way too much. The reason why these films are costing 200, 300 million is because of, like cloudy accounting, and because you're paying the stars way too much. And it's just like, okay, I shouldn't have to pay so much to go to the movie theater. You're not appealing to me. I actually went to the movies for the very first time since Sonic the Hedgehog. Since the original Sonic the Hedgehog came out with my kids. We went and saw the Minecraft movie. And good enough to say, yeah, I'll buy the DVD for them. It was good enough. But the amount of ads before it, holy moly. Like, holy moly. So bad. And I counted 3 movies in a row. Hang on, okay. The new Disney Pixar movie called like Eloy or Eloi or whatever. And that's about a kid who's got a single parent who is a bit of an outcast. So he makes friends with an alien. And then they got the live action Lilo and Stitch movie coming out, which is a girl who's being raised with no parents by her sister who becomes friends with an alien. Yeah. And then there's a new movie called The Ochi or something like that, which is an A24 film or something like that. And it's about a girl who lives in this like weird colony, which looks like Norway or something. And Willem Dafoe, I think, is her dad in it, single parent. And she becomes friends with an alien. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, why? 3 of them in a row, the same garbage. Actually, 4 because they showed the Lilo and Stitch ad twice, once in English and once in Spanish.
Lilo and Stitch might be the last Disney live action remake, though, because they canceled the Rapunzel one they were working on.
Good. Yeah. Look, we've talked about this before, the death of creativity. And like, there's none. It's gone. I saw one poster. Okay, there's that movie, The Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing that. There's no way. That Disney Pixar one with the kid and the alien, and then the A24 one, which is kid and the alien. But like everything else is just like old IP, just like rebooted. Dude, they're doing another Smurfs movie. Another Smurfs movie's coming out. Yeah, like the last ones did so well. It's like, what are we? Time stood still, right? Like I guess we didn't realize this, but like time ended either in 1999 or 2012, one of the two. But like
ever present now, man.
Repeat now.
Yeah, and we're just gonna see ads for Burger King and Papa John's and Lowe's and USAA and Liberty Mutual, and they're just the most, or 700 medications that you need to talk to your doctor about, and be taking more medications, more and more medications. Are you fat? Medication. Are you depressed? Medication. Do you shit too much? Here's a medication.
Are you shitting too much because you took the fat guy medication? Then here's another medication. Yeah, there's this. Okay, so Buck likes punk music, and he also likes some ska, right? Mm-hmm. There was a ska band I used to like when I was in university called Real Big Fish, and they have a song called Everything Sucks. And that song comes into my head way more frequently than I want to admit, but it's just like, because the chorus is like, I know everything sucks. Yeah, I know everything sucks. Whoa, I know everything sucks. Yeah, and this is going to be the last time you hear me complain, but it's never the last time.
Never the last time.
I'm always going to complain.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this probably feels like a repeat because I have complained about advertising so much on the show in the past, but it was
The show died in 2000.
The show died, yeah, and now but it was wild because it's like again, it's for me it's a culture shock because I just don't watch I haven't watched regular television in years since living in St. Louis. I've been watching all my own self-hosted content. So I don't even get like this shit on top of YouTube videos anymore.
No.
And so sitting in this like little house with watching like the peasant TV that I was watching like in college and stuff, and I'm just like, and because it's also just the same shit. It's just like the same ads from 15 years ago of like, buy Tide, buy Gain, try Old Spice, try Irish Spring, try Olay, try Pantene Pro V.
My kids will never see this. Like last year, Game 7 of the NHL playoffs, I paid for it just so I could see the one game. I paid like $20 for the month subscription. I took it right off afterwards, but just to watch the Game 7, and I watched it with my wife and kids, and like it's funny because like my kids are so unfamiliar with television ads that like when the ads came on, my daughter like grabbed for the remote to like try to fast forward it. And I was like, no, you can't do that. It doesn't work. And like the ads were so bad. And there was so many just PSAs and garbage. And I'm like, and it's funny because you bring up a lot of these were marketed towards women. And I'm watching these hockey game. And it was mostly ads targeting women. And I was like, with the occasional beer ad or a truck ad.
Yeah.
And that's it. So yeah. That's a good issue, man. I gotta
thank you.
I gotta get my voice down because remember he's on the other side here, so I gotta let the man sleep. But
that's the issue. That's the episode for this week. And now stay tuned for 27 minutes of just white noise of ad cancer telling you all the things that you should be buying. The one I really hated that I kept seeing was this like brand power one. And I think it was like Johnson & Johnson, but
those are
like pretending to be a third party was like, you know what cleans real good? Dawn dishwashing soap. And then at the very end they have to be like, this was actually paid for by like S.C. Johnson or whoever makes Dawn dishwashing soap. I'm like,
yeah, they're white labels. That's what I do. It's white labels. Like what I do is meant to look like a honest third party thing, and then it's like this giant ass disclaimer at the bottom. Oh man, yeah. No, the brand power has been around for a while. Good one, man. Well, shall we? Shall we? Yeah, let's head over into voicemail territory. So let's close out the original.
This has been Here's What I Don't Get. I'm Tab Burt.
I'm El Chaco.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Ciao, ciao.
If you want to call into the Here's What I Don't Get hotline, you can call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can leave us a voicemail on the Discord under voicemail upload, which we have one from Andy, who has been called our most prolific voicemailer in the history of the show, which I think is probably pretty true.
Probably.
So now I have to do this. Actually, here, I'm going to play one from the voicemail while I get this ready to play.
Sure.
Or I'm not. It might be time to retire the soundboard computer.
It's not working.
You're not hearing anything.
No, I'm not.
Everything is broken.
Are you going to have to just share a window?
No, I think I got it figured out.
Hello. This is a message to follow up on El Chaco's neighbours or squatters. What the hell happened to them? I feel like I really missed an episode or something. Last time I heard the story, they're on the brink of being evicted. It was only a week away before you could call in the riot squad to chase them off with a healthy dose of wood shampoo. And then nothing, man. Please, tell us what happened. Thanks.
Well, Yeah, I think I covered a little bit earlier. Maybe it was in the pre-show or it was in the kind of the early part of the show. But yeah, so before Christmas, like we won, and they were given 10 days to leave. And on the 9th day, they submitted an appeal, which then went to the court in the capital. But it had to wait to get to the court. And in that time, in Latin American countries, about halfway through December, all the way through to the end of January, they shut down the courts. And so I had to wait until that happened. And then, so they had a given amount of time in the court starting in February to get, if you file an appeal, you have to give an argument. You have to submit an argument as to what the judge got wrong. Well, this was all just a tactic to stall. It stalled the court. It stalled me. It stalled you, or an avid listener who wants to hear about this. And they had no intention to actually submit an argument. They just waited until the deadline for that came and left. And then my lawyers pointed out that they missed that window. And so then they put in a request to have it transferred back from the capital to the capital of my state. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm just waiting for the judge from the original court case to issue that he has received it back, that it's over. And then once it's time, I have to pay to have him come out and witness it. I have to pay for a government entity because they have minors there, to make sure that the minors are dealt with properly. Because the two elderly are seniors, there's another entity for the seniors to be dealt with. So they need transportation. They also, because they will probably not leave, I need to have a police force. Because there are 9 people there, I need to outnumber that. So I need at least 10 to 12 police officers to come. I then have to get signage put up for no more trespassers. We have to close it down. There needs to be a marking to the public. Then there needs to be tractors brought in. So like their houses are basically metal sheets on top of these like stick and mud walls that they make. And so I have to pay for a moving company to empty out all their stuff, to put onto a truck, to have the truck take it to the police commissary to be stored at there. And when it's all gone, we have to immediately level the walls. So we're going to have somebody remove the metal sheets because those have value. You can give them back to them. And yeah, so it's any minute now, but I don't know when it is. And in typical Paraguayan fashion, I'm not going to get a lot of a heads up. It'll probably be like, hey, we got the judge's order. You need to pay the money now. And it'll be, either at the end of this week or it'll be tomorrow for all I know. And then my father-in-law's in town. I need to just be on guard for this because at any point, I don't want to be here for that. I just don't want to be here for that. So we'll have to make arrangements and then go and, make sure that my guy is like, watching the place for me, but it's so close. But like I was driving the other day, I was going into town and I passed the grandmother, the one grandson, 2 of her grandsons, the youngest one, and then one of the middle guys who is like, I think he's like 19 now, but he looks like he's 16, but he's this tall, scrawny kid. And he thinks he's a tough guy. He's the one who flipped off my son. He's the one who every time I drive and he sees me, he stares me down. And I came around the corner and there they were. And just to kind of calm myself to not be, I just signed myself the sign of the cross and just like, all right, I'm going to drive past. And the kid like stood there and just like, he stared me down. I just looked him in the eye. He looked me in the eye as I'm driving by. But you ever seen that like Peter Strozek or whatever, that like FBI agent who was like on, not on trial.
Oh yeah.
And he made that like demon face.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the kid made. He made the total demon face at me the whole time. And I was like, man, I just can't wait to get these fuckers off. Like it drives me crazy. I need them gone. But yeah, you and me both, man. I wish I had
better news,
easier to explain. But I'm just like, I'm listening to this as it goes, and it's just it's the worst. But yeah, it's gonna cost me 12 million guaranis, which it's about 8,000 Guaranis for a US dollar. So whatever that ends up being, what is that? 12 million divided by 8,000.
Well, I know it's no 6 million.
6 really. It's about $1,500.
50,000 at most.
It's 251, 252. Anyway, so that's the update on that end. And I tell you, man, as soon as it's over, there'll be a here's what I don't get like party, like a celebration. Yeah. We'll do a live feed. I'll do the feed. I might do the feed over the ashes. You know, like I'll just bring my phone out and we'll just do it over the fucking ashes, and I'll shoot off fireworks and we'll make it count. So I'll give back for sure.
Here's this is a voicemail that Andy put on the Discord, and it is entitled new voicemail 2.txt.xlsx.mp3. So let's see if this even plays.
Here's what I don't get. In Season 3, Episode 20 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick, Mark McCormick cannot afford the repairs to his race car, the Coyote X. The Coyote was previously damaged in Season 3, Episode 15 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick. In that episode, Mark gets into a head-on collision with his ex-girlfriend, the woman who put him in prison for stealing his own car. Later, the windshield gets shot out by Judge Hardcastle during a gunfight on Judge's Malibu estate. Later, all 4 tires are punctured when Mark inadvertently drives over a spike strip while chasing a tow truck. Finally, a hole is shot in the gas tank during another gunfight at Judge's Malibu estate, leading to the Coyote exploding after the fuel is ignited by a cigarette of an FBI agent that had arrived in a hot dog truck. In this episode, Mark's woes about car repair money appear to be over as he looks out his window to see leprechauns carrying a pot of gold across the yard. He watches the leprechauns bury the gold, and then goes out to retrieve it, before being knocked out by a leprechaun. Nobody believes Mark when he tells them about the leprechauns, but they soon find out the leprechauns are being chased by the Russian mafia and a circus. The Russian mafia is chasing them because they think they are Soviet defectors. The circus is chasing them because they think they are trapeze artists. Everything comes to a climax when the Russian mafia dresses in drag to infiltrate Judge's Malibu estate. Concurrently, the circus guys jump the fence. The resulting gunfight on Judge's Malibu estate includes a rocket launcher and grenades, but no fatalities. In the end, the leprechauns disappear. But at the end of the rainbow, Mark sees his Coyote X, perfectly restored to mint condition. What I don't get is, in Season 3, Episode 19 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick, the Coyote can plainly be seen sitting in the driveway in perfect condition. That doesn't make any sense. It was blown up in Season 3, Episode 15 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick, and wasn't restored by leprechaun magic until Season 3, Episode 20 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick. Are we supposed to believe the car magically repaired itself before Season 3, Episode 19 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick, but then exploded again after Season 3, Episode 19 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick, but before Season 3, Episode 20 of the classic American documentary series, Hardcastle and McCormick? That's ridiculous! That's not how cars work!
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I gotta
man.
check
You know
out
what?
this podcast
I
on
was
McCormick.
onto it. Yeah, where's the torrent for that one? Because I know it's not on Netflix anymore. Man, I lost it. It's just the way his voice says trapeze artist.
1983 to 1986.
Arqueta McCormick. Is that all we have for voicemails, or is there more?
No, we've got more. There is more.
Hey, this is Chris from Idaho. Hey, we all love some good boomer hate, right? So here's what I don't get. Boomer parents who don't loan money to their children. So my boomer ass mom has a gigantic war chest of money, and she's so old that she only invests in CDs and bonds, which get like 4, maybe 5% interest. And I'm getting ass blasted by a 6.75% mortgage right now. And I said, hey mom, it'd be cool. How about you just lend me the money to pay off this mortgage? And you just lend it to me at that 4.5% that you're getting from your bonds. And then I don't have to pay this mortgage. You get the same interest you were making with your investments. And it's like a win-win. Your son and your grandchildren have an easier life. She didn't lend me the money because boomers, I don't know, they've got some fucking weird mind virus about lending money to family. And then get this. When I was growing up, my dad told me that when him and my mom bought the house I grew up in, that my dad's grandmother loaned them the money to pay down the mortgage faster. So in true boomer fashion, the boomers take advantage of what their future or what their previous generations did generously, and then they fuck over their kids. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Show's been great. Later.
Man,
Yeah,
that
that really sucks, dude. I saw a thing about this on Twitter today where it was like Warren Buffett only gave his son $90,000, and that's the only inheritance that he'll ever get. And it's like, yeah, I kind of get it. I kind of get it with these ultra wealthy people doing it, but like middle class people are fucking over their own kids just for the sake of like living their retirement in whatever lavish way that they felt that they've earned, as opposed to like making sure that their kids and their grandkids live a comfortable life right now.
I hate being that guy though. Like, it's like, I get it. I've seen enough of these like examples. I've seen enough of these examples, and I know it exists, and I know that like I don't want to be that outlier guy, but it's like that is not my experience.
Mm-hmm.
My
I think
parents.
you just have good parents.
I have great parents.
I think you just have to accept that everybody else in your parents' generation are pieces of shit.
Well, it's not even just my parents; it's my wife's parents too, right? Like, like my parents, they lent to me when I was going through like jobless periods, when I was coming out of university, to help me out with all those kind of things. I help them back now, but like my father-in-law, like he's bailed me out a couple of times here, and he knows that he can trust me because I got the point about like, if you don't pay back family, like I guess it also speaks back to yourself. Like if you've earned enough trust with them that they know that you'll pay it back. But in this guy's case, it's like, it's just like a mortgage. I don't get where that comes from, where like you love your family, but you don't like, for example,
Like,
I have an
yeah,
uncle. I have an uncle.
This is a great. His example is great, right? You're only getting 4.5 to 5%. You will still get that, and he will save tens of thousands of dollars on his mortgage over the next however long.
Like I have an uncle who is a multi-millionaire, and he was always a good guy when I was growing up, but like once he became a multi-millionaire, things changed. And he helps out people, but it's like if you don't pay him back right away, like he's on you about it all the time. It's like, okay, but your money, like you could do nothing with your money but put it into one of these CD things and get like 5% a year and live off of that. Okay, let's just do the math here for a second. Say you have $1 million, right? You have $1 million, and you can make 5% off of investing that in something, 5% a year. So for that $1 million, you can make $50,000 a year just off of the interest off of that million, right? There's a lot of people that would kill to get $50,000 a year in a job, like not all of them, but like in a job or in retirement or something like that. Now, imagine you've got $100 million and you've got family that are starving or in big need, and you've got your investments and you laugh at 5%. you laugh at 5%. If you're not making 8 to 10, you're laughing at 5%. So you're already making that 8 to 10 in some other way. Those kind of things that only the wealthy get access to. And so you're doing all that. You've got your real estate. You've got your rental properties. You've got all those other things. So you're already making it off of that. But then you have the audacity to go and blow $1 million on like something stupid, something just show offy. And the rest of the family's like, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're all happy.
That aunt that's in her 80s that's still working, that you could have put $1 million down into a thing, and she could have you could have put it into a thing and given her the interest for until she dies. And then afterwards, you've still got that principal amount. You didn't lose the money, but she didn't work for it. Didn't pull out for the bootstraps. It's like, that's your sister.
Yeah, didn't bootstrap
those
herself
kind of things
up.
I don't understand. But yeah, it's not all boomers, but boy, there's a high proportion of them. You're right, for sure.
2 more.
And here's what I don't get. It's the number of people who get used to, or I guess feel entitled for businesses and stuff to be donating to them every year. Like, I have just recently, within the last 2 weeks, had to take over for a store for a guy who was fired. One of the reasons being he was donating so many pizzas for us that our sales were impacted by the tune of $1,000 to $2,000 per week that he was basically giving out for free. And now I've been fielding phone calls for the past week. Well, no, this guy doesn't work here anymore. We'll look at the donation, see if we can still do it. I'll have to call him back, and except in a couple instances, we've had to tell them, we can't donate to you. We can give you a reduced price for the item because it's a charity or it's a school or whatever. There's one because he promised them, and there was this whole big deal and whatever, blah, blah, blah. We got that one done. There's so many others who are just calling up, hey, we need our donation of 10 pizzas or 30 pizzas or whatever. It's like, we can't do that. To be fair, a large number of them are okay with paying the reduced price, and we do give them, what I'd say is a fair price. We're not losing money on the sale, and they're not, it's well within their budgets. But I've had a couple in the last day or so where they call up, hey, you guys are donating pizzas to us, and we buy from you guys all the time. It's like, well, no, you get free donations all the time.
Yeah.
And that doesn't translate to making money for our store, so we can, at the bare minimum, keep the lights on. So it just kind of baffles me. I guess it's the people getting used to entitlements. I'm sure there's a lot of expansion you can do that to current political situations and stuff, but I'll stay away from that for now. So, have a good day.
It's like that old sign in the park that says, do not feed the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, do not feed the animals because they'll lose their ability to hunt. They'll become too accustomed to getting food from people. And that sounds a lot like that. Like, it's they become way too accustomed to it.
So my department, one of the other theaters that we manage, so that building, when it got built, they took over part of what was a parking lot, right? And so in order to and the parking lot was like belongs to these other businesses that are nearby. And so in order to make it up, they built a new parking garage that's like, I don't know, fucking 5-6 stories or something like that. But it was like, here's the number of spaces that were originally in this lot. Here's how many spaces that are allotted for our theater and a couple of other groups in there. And then like they made this parking garage that had more spots than they had made disappear. But there's another venue across the street that is not attached, that parking lot does not belong to them. And they rent out their thing to a church every Sunday. And so at some point, the guy running this like pop-up church emailed my boss and was like, hey, can we park in your guys' parking garage? And my boss sent back an email in the middle of my boss's father dying from dementia. Just sent an email that was like, it's not monitored. it's not, you don't have to pay for parking in that garage, and it's not monitored. And that was like basically the email.
Mm-hmm.
And then this little pop-up church started being like, free parking in the theater parking garage. And then now all of this is like thrown up a bunch of like, well, who told them they could have free parking in this garage? And the church people are like, this is a binding contract. This email that was sent at like 3 p.m. on a Thursday that just said like, if you need to park there, it's not monitored. And so it's becoming this whole fucking ordeal. And I'm just like, yeah, you know,
contract.
Just because someone said, hey, yeah, no big deal. Keep it on the DL does not mean that it's your parking garage to advertise to your patrons to be able to park there, especially if we have an event going on in our fucking theater. Useless people.
What's the next one?
Like, yeah, I'm happy to let you guys park there when we don't have anything going on, but it's not yours. It's not a contract.
Exactly.
Last one.
Hey guys, Denholm here. So went up to Arkansas to shoot a 50 cal for my birthday. Was going a little over the speed limit. You know, fuck it, shit happens. Going from the Texas border where you're doing 75, 80 to, you know, fucking 65 on the Oklahoma border. And I'm okay with paying the $185 for the ticket, right? But why the fuck is there a 10% convenience fee for paying online? Fuck you. I'm paying out of state, you fucking cocksucker. You know I am. You're doing that just to fucking siphon money out of me. You are a worthless piece of shit, and I hope you fucking burn. Oklahoma, I used to love it. I used to love Oklahoma. I thought Oklahoma's beautiful. Ever since I went up to go fucking do that episode with you guys, I liked Oklahoma. But no, fucking Oklahoma cops are fucking faggots.
Oklahoma Highway Patrol should all pull over their cars on the side of the road right now, take out their firearms, stick them in their mouths, and blow their own fucking brains out.
Wasn't there like that space in Oklahoma where I was looking at that like Clear Creek Abbey or whatever,
Hulbert
and you said that was like one of the worst places for traps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's they dropped the speed limit, so it's like 65 on the state highway, and then you get into Hulbert, and it goes from 65 to 30 in the space of about 3/4 of a mile. And you're like, it's nothing, and then it
Boom.
like the speed limit starts dropping like every 600 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like on this little small nothing of a town that takes you about 90 seconds to traverse because you're going 30 miles an hour. And then it's boop, 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 back up to 65 and you're back on the state highway. I hate that town so much. My mom lives on the other side of that town from Tulsa that I take a longer route that is actually the same amount of time because I don't have to slow down for this fucking piece of shit town. But if you drive through there with an out-of-state plate, you get harassed. And if you drive through going 31 miles an hour, you get a ticket. After I was rear-ended, this was like, I guess, 2019? Yeah, when I got rear-ended, I was driving home from Thanksgiving. This was the last time I drove through that town. But I was driving home from Thanksgiving, and I got pulled over. And he's like, what happened to your car here? I was like, well, a few days ago, an illegal alien ran into the back of my fucking car and totaled it with no driver's license and no insurance and an unregistered car. And I think the only reason why he believed me was because I had taped up all the seams of the trunk to try and not let water get in. And it was very obvious that tape had been there for a few days. But he was like, do you have anything to drink with Thanksgiving? Like, no, fuck off, dude. Yeah, fuck Oklahoma. Glad I don't live there.
Oh, man. You just unsold me on the place. I got to figure out where. Actually, it doesn't matter. I'm never going to be moving to the United States anyway. It's never going to happen. And even if Alberta becomes like the 51st state or Canada becomes the 51st state, still not going to move there. Fuck that. All right. Is that it for them?
That is it. Those are all the voicemails.
All right. Well, I'm glad we had a lot to go through. So I had fun, man. This is great.
Yeah. Great to be back. We'll be doing some more in May. May, I'm so looking forward to things just slowing down back to their normal level of shit show instead of this cross-country shit show that I've been having.
And Sully said he wants to come out and hang out here for a while. You need some time away from the city. So maybe one of the shows that we're doing, maybe we can time it out right and get Sully on here as a third guest.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll be doing our wrestling show on May 3rd, the totally rewritten totally everything turned upside down, whole new roster spread and all that kind of stuff. I got to do that on May 3rd. So yeah, we'll look forward
Cats
to it.
and dogs living together.
God bless everybody. Thanks so much for listening.
See you later.
Ciao.